Welcome to SPURSUASIAN TV, right? Good morning or good evening to all you guys in Asia, right? And of course, good afternoon and good evening to you guys in Europe. And of course, good morning again good afternoon to you guys in Americas. Today is
Good
a special,
evening. Good
yeah,
evening.
good evening, right? Good evening to all you guys, right? Uh, Today is a special show, right? I've got Mr. K, right, on my left. I don't know left or right, but now look at me stuff and all that. uh, but first, before we start off, let me put up something. We have to, of course, say, welcome back, Mr. K. Welcome back. Right. How have you been doing?
Thank you. Thank
Eight,
you.
18 months, right? You stepped aside, right? And thank you for actually coming back on the show, right? We haven't seen you in such a long time. We haven't done this in such a long time, right? It used to be fun. We used to have a lot of banter. I mean, good chats, right? Intellectually, emotionally, right? And
Yeah.
emotionally, it used to be a lot of
Well,
emotions. Yeah, right. And
I had to go away for a while to grow this beard.
go away from the grow to beard. That's good. That's good. Right. Yeah. Yeah. But how have you been, Mr. K? Right. I haven't seen. I mean,
Pretty good.
uh, the
Pretty good.
community has been in such a long time. So just let us know how things have been going with
Um,
you, and to see how things.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I kind of concentrated on like my health, my well-being, my career, my education. There was a lot of research which I was doing, which I was being neglected. So I had to get back onto the horse for that. My family. Obviously, I've got family. Got two girls and a boy and a cat, and the missus,
The
of
cat,
course.
go with your cat.
So obviously, also I was moving house as well. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of things, a lot of adventures for 18 months. Um, but yeah, it's been a. But I've been keeping an eye on what's happening with Spurs along the way. I haven't been interacting very much with the social media. Twitter, no. Um, WhatsApp, not really. You know, Shout out to Paxton Road TV. I mean, like
Yeah.
they're one of the few groups I actually kept together with. Um,
Mhm.
they're quite balanced people in there with really educated views in the actual field of football itself. So I kept an eye on what's going on. Obviously, I communicate with you. Kept an eye on that. I think recently there was talk of change for Spurs.
Mhm.
So that was an interesting thing to be brought back in for that. But yeah, it's been a good hiatus. I don't really see myself coming back into the podcasting world in any type of full capacity in any way whatsoever.
Okay.
I think obviously you asking me to pair and do a talk to Kay with yourself on a Sunday, not a Tuesday night, without the bells and whistles that I normally would have. It's quite refreshing to be asked to come on. So I really appreciate that. Grateful for that. Grateful
Thanks
to
for
be
calling.
remembered, obviously.
We
But
still remember.
on the whole of it, I think coming back at this time, being called at this time, I think it's really important for the fan base because right now the fan base they're feeling a lot of hurt, they're feeling a lot of pain, and I certainly know how that feels. We had that 2 years ago, we've had that 18 months ago. So it's nothing new for the fan base, but when the fan base does suffer these type of pains and aches that they're currently going through, it's almost like deja vu. But it's important to come back and talk about certain issues or talk about yourself and try to get people, give them a bit of TLC. We forget sometimes that the fan base really we may differ with our opinions, but we have one thing in connection: we love the club, we want success for the club. We have different approaches as to how that should be done, and we vehemently argue with each other about that. But that's the passion of sport, right?
Yeah.
So, but but Eugene, what's been going on? How's the season? What do you think of the season so far?
To tell the truth, right, Mr. K, like I said, I've been 40 years of supporting Spurs, and I've gone to a very zen mode about Spurs, and my expectations for Spurs has not actually been much of expectations, right? Because, like you said, it's deja vu again. We come back to where we are, square one, and
Yeah,
it's hasn't changed much. And of course, like you said, our fan base is our fan base, right? I guess we have the most divided fan base in the whole of the Premier League or even the whole world of football. right? That we can't even get together and actually what call be cohesive, right? But it is what it is. Each to its own, right? And your opinions are to your own, your feelings are to your own, right? And we try not to force it on other people, right? Because it's
I think that's
freedom.
the lesson, isn't it? Now, I think that's the
Yeah,
lesson that we've learned over these years is that in order for we have to respect our own opinion first, and if we respect our opinion, we have to respect other people's opinion. And I think sometimes that gets lost.
yeah,
But it's no one's fault. It's the passion. It's the
mm,
passion of the club. It's the love affair that fans have with the club. You know, they want success for the club. I mean, if the team goes on and wins the Premier League, we're not going to get money in our pocket. We're not going to get a little trophy at home to put in on the cabinet. The players will, the club will. But we adore the club. We adore the team. I think what I've seen recently, just casting a quick eye upon the community, is the divisions being set again, where fan versus fan, you know, Levy in, Levy out. Or dare I say that word?
yeah,
um, Fans out there, just in case you're wondering, Levy out. But but I think we're entitled to have that opinion, and I think that's being lost. Is
yeah.
is that people should be allowed to criticize? They should be allowed to flatter as well. They should be allowed to say, "Oh, well, the club's done some fantastic things." Then at the same time, fans are allowed to say, "Well, they've done some crap things." And I think everyone's allowed to have their opinion. But at the end of the day, as fans, we're united. We should be united on how we feel about the club itself. That should unite us on that. Obviously, it's like a family. We're all going to bicker with each other. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, if Arsenal slip up at the end of the season, we're all going to celebrate, right? We'll all come together. We'll all come together. But it's. I mean, if you think about turnabout is fair play. I remember the 2016-2017 season with Pot and the
Mm,
Poch, and I think there was a transition period that year where we went from a team that was always slipping up and ending up 1 point behind Arsenal, and then that season we got ahead of them. We had the best defense in the Europe at the time.
mm,
I mean,
right.
right now our defense is like a league nappy, right? Yeah, but
What
that
nappy?
time we had the best. That defense back then was the best in Europe.
Yeah,
I mean, Alex Ferguson said, I mean, like if you want to win titles, you need to have a solid defense. I mean,
that's
if you think about it, it's like all the great teams that have won the Premier League. They've had great defenses. And 2016, 2017, we had a great defense. We're missing quite an awful lot of other players, but at least we had that. I think now we're going to look back and realize to ourselves, you know what? Damn it! I wish we had a good defense now. Look at that match that happened yesterday. You know,
mm, yeah.
um, I mean, at least this temporary manager that we got, Salini, is not throwing his toys out the pram. So he's keeping a certain degree of decorum there. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
Eugene, what's your highlights for the season so far? I mean, there must be some positives, right? So come out of this so far. I mean,
Yeah.
what's his new boy? That's Dan Rumer or something? Dan Juma?
Dan Juma, yeah, yeah. A lot of
Yeah,
people underrate him.
he looks in a bit of an exciting prospect, really. I mean, you saw him play over the season. What do you think of him?
Yeah. To tell the truth, I can't think much of him because I haven't seen much of him. But every time he comes on, he
Oh, but
does.
you remember the first game he played? He scored a goal, right?
Yeah, yeah. He scored a goal against
And
Preston,
he's got that instinct,
and the
right?
hunger. He's got a certain instinct. He's got a
Yeah.
certain hunger in him, right? That maybe if we given him a bit more chance, then maybe we'll see more from him. But at the moment now, like you
Well,
said,
he's not going anywhere.
yeah,
He's not going anywhere. Trust me. I mean, look at Dyer and Sanchez. They're not going anywhere either. Look at
oh,
Davis. He's definitely not going anywhere.
don't,
Hugo,
don't.
Hugo. He's going to get a contract extension next season. He's going to be our number one, guaranteed
Yeah, yeah.
World Cup champion.
And imagine you were saying, right, during the 16-17 season, he was already there. And he's still here. Dyer and Davis.
But
but that's
I don't know.
football.
Look, at the end of the day, um, do you feel that there's a unrealistic expectation or a sort of self entitlement that sometimes the fans have when they look at the status of our club and say, "Oh, our club should be this, our club should be that." Do you think that's unrealistic, or do you think that's like, well, we laid the groundwork for it, the history for it. We should believe in that. I mean, don't forget our motto is to dare is to do, right?
It is. It is. It is. Nah, but to tell the truth, right? But to tell the truth,
I
right?
mean,
The,
I heard
the
the new motto. I mean, I've heard the new motto being shouted in the stadium recently. The new
yeah.
motto now is Levy Inika. But
Oh no,
but,
that will go on forever, right? But no, to tell the truth, right, Mr.
yeah,
K, for our fan base is that it's not to say that we are entitled to anything, but to tell the truth, that maybe sometimes we've been sold that pipe dream, right, by our owners, right, by telling us that we are supposed to be here, supposed to be there, supposed this and supposed that, and never achieving it and somehow getting away with it. So that's why, like you said, like our new
mm,
motto now is like, Levy out. But to come to it, right? At the moment, my overall call. I mean, you've been out for 18 months, but you've been keeping an eye on the club. I'm sure you watch the games once in a while. You will analyze what's been happening, right? All these whiles, but you are not getting involved with the podcasting and all that. But you do have your opinions. Like for me, is that from after what happened during the we call Nuno time, we brought in Conte and things like we the fact when Conte came in, I was happy to a certain extent that all right, now this could be our chairman's last chance to prove himself, right, to do something correct. But being sold another pipe
never
dream
say
again,
never.
yeah, yeah, that is to do, right? Being
Never
sold
say
another pipe
never.
dream, yeah, yeah. So another pipe dream again, and
But
then
but I heard he's opened up a new cinema though. I mean, I've heard he's opened up a new cinema. The popcorn's really nice. So
yeah,
there's
yeah,
been some
no,
improvement, right? He's not
yeah, no,
completely useless. Come on, I mean, you're
no,
doing some
no, no.
amazing things. He's getting rid of all the poor people from the area.
Oh yeah, don't even go
Gentrification going on.
there. Yeah, yeah. But the thing is that don't
No,
forget,
today I'm going there. I'm going everywhere today.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Today is to build.
Today is- no, it's look. I think it's important for fans to kind of like not hurt themselves so much
Yeah,
with all these adverse things happening, right? And it's natural when you're disappointed that you're going to look around and vent and point fingers at people and so forth. But it's not good for you. I mean, I've been away for 18 months, and I'm able to step back and look at the situation with our club. I'm able to look at the situation with the fan base from a slight distance. And from my own personal opinion, because I'm so far back looking at them, I'm thinking to myself that the time has now come where the manager's gone. Um, Stellini is proving that he's absolutely useless. Um, so realistically, the fan base needs to wake up a little bit and check themselves and say, you know what, um, let's not drive ourselves crazy because this match that we had yesterday was absolutely crazy. But was it any different? If you look at the previous run all the way from January, if you look at the run, we were barely making it. We beat Brighton, was it 2-1 or something,
yeah,
right? Or was it 1-0? I'm not too sure. But the thing was, if you look at the stats, we shouldn't have won that game. No way. In
yeah,
fact, with the way we won it was a penalty that should have been given to Brighton wasn't given, and the referee had to apologise afterwards. Right? We rode our luck bare times. Right? So, but in terms of if you look at the quality of the two teams, Brighton and Tottenham, we were without doubt the better quality team. But the problem was we weren't acting as a team. We were acting as 11 really great individuals compared to Brighton's 11 individuals. But this is a team game. You have to have team cohesion. You have to have people fighting for each other. I mean, we all know this. This is basic football 101. It's like, I mean, look, we're all gray in the beard now. Like, we know these basic things. We don't need a coaching badge to tell us this. We know this. I think Conte kind of like said that. Jose said that. Nuno didn't get a chance to say it because he was too busy saying he wants us to be proud. Um, But I think we can see with our own eyes when we look at the match, the capitulation that our team does. And we're looking for blame. We're looking for blame. We're looking for the guy that's not on the pitch. Hey, it's all your fault. And, it's not just one guy on the pitch. It's like, the manager, the medical staff, the coaches that train the staff, the players, the board for the selection procedure, for how they reward the players, how they incentivize the playing. I mean, if you're going to turn around and say to yourself that our defenses, that certain players have done really well for us, let's give them another contract, then you're rewarding people for failure. It's like there seems to be certain things wrong with our club, and it doesn't seem to be just one thing. Obviously, it's not the stadium.
Yeah.
But having said that,
you've been to the stadium, right? Wow.
Yeah. It's a fantastic stadium to watch Lady Gaga and American football. Oh, by the way, we can convert it and make it into a football stadium too. But
and don't forget, we're building a go-kart track at the bottom for Formula One, and somewhere in June we're going to have
fantastic news. I'm a Formula One fan.
Yeah, Beyonce coming too.
Look, listen. We can joke and jest as much as we want, and I think we're entitled to do that. I think everyone's in. That's the one thing I think everyone's forgotten. See, when I'm standing back and I'm thinking to myself, whereas before I used to have a problem with people saying like, we love Levy, and I used to get a problem with that. But now I don't have the problem anymore. You can love Levy, but don't hate me. Don't hate me for saying Levy out. I won't hate you for saying Levy in, so long as you don't hate me for saying Levy out. And I think if we can come together and say, okay, fine, we respect the fact that you have a right to have your opinion and you have a voice to voice it, and I'm not going to ridicule you. The only reason why sometimes the ridiculing happens is because who threw the first stone? We don't know. But one thing for sure, both sides are throwing stones. That's a fact, right? And sometimes it's enjoyable to do that. Right? And the thing is that the enjoyment is on both sides. But to me, having stepped back for 18 months, what I see is that this enjoyment comes at the cost of what's really going on, and that it becomes a distraction and a deflection away from what the real issues are, right? And how we should be, as a fan base, should be voicing them. I don't think the fan base. That's the thing. I don't think. Right? It's all opinions. What goes on inside the team, what goes on inside the contracts, what goes inside the players' minds, what goes inside the dressing room. We haven't got a bloody clue. What goes on inside the transfers, for example, the player selection. We haven't got a bloody clue, but we seem to think we do. The manager doesn't sub someone on in 16 minutes. Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. But the guy gets paid millions. He's been trained by professionals. He's got top whacking licenses. And all of a sudden, we're sitting there in our armchairs thinking that we know better. Oh, because we're looking at the football match. I think there's a certain degree of entitlement that we seem to have got. But that's not just us as a fan base. If you look at the country as a whole, the United Kingdom, there seems to be something that's changed in the last 5 years, right? This country has become extremely xenophobic, right? It doesn't care about those people that are less fortunate than yourself, right? That feeling of Great Britain it doesn't seem great anymore. Honest to God, it's like, we had a COVID pandemic. We all stood outside on the street clapping for the nurses and the doctors, and as soon as COVID was over, we sacked them all.
Really?
We see crazy things happening in our country, and we've lost compassion and empathy for each other. Not just one side, both sides, or all sides have lost that compassion, and it's reflected in our fan base. It's reflected within our club. Realistically, just one bit of success, I think, would change everything. But the thing is, we're desperate. We're walking around in the desert. We're thirsty. And Lord of the Flies, we're all going to turn on each other. That's so sad. But Eugene, enough about reminiscing. Shall we have a quick look at the comments? See who's in.
Let us step back for a while. Let's step back for a while and let's go through the comments. Right. Today we have about 11 people in the chats. That's nice. Of course, let me go to the first one. Yeah, Scott M. Right? Scott M. Big up, Scotty. Scott M. New nickname is Scott Munn. He's our new CFO. Yep, Scott Munn, our new CFO. Right. So
Well, he
That's
can't do any worse than what's currently there. In fact, Scott Nunn for football director.
yeah, Scott Manford, chief football officer, right? Mark Cousins,
Oh,
big up
that's his
Mark.
name.
Yep, nice to
Nice
meet
one,
you again.
Mark.
Oh, yep, nice one. And we got Tony Rodriguez, big up
Tony,
Tony, big up. And
big
of
up.
course, my co-host, right? Usually with me, right? It is Jamie.
Jamie, one love, one love.
One love, right? And not to forget the Empress of
Goguma.
Spurs. Ah, big up, Guguma. Right.
Princess Queen has graced us with her presence.
Yeah,
Thank you very
always.
much.
She's always
See,
my
that's one
sponsor.
thing. That's one thing which I think is absolutely amazing. Is that the fan base. I think that's what we've forgotten. Is that there's so many really genuinely good characters in our fan base that come onto the social media in terms of the podcasting, that come in the chat, that do the viewing. That's you guys out there.
Yeah.
In fact, while you're there, could you please smash a like?
And subscribe if you haven't.
But you know, we've got some wonderful people that without them there wouldn't be this phenomena of podcasting for Spurs. We wouldn't have a voice. They wouldn't have a voice if we didn't come together. So there's fantastic to see people like Mark Cousins, Goguma, Jamie. Or, you know, these are all familiar names. Scott Munn. Who else
Yeah.
is in there? Anyone else?
And Luca, big up to Luca, right? Luca's an Arsenal fan.
Nice one,
And
Luca.
big up to Luca because
Man, they're having cracking season.
I forgot to tell
Cracking
you this.
season.
Hold on, Mr. K. I forgot to tell this, right? You know Steven, right? The Arsenal boy who passed away, right?
Yeah, I remember.
I attended his funeral online last Friday, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and big up to Luca. Luca was there personally. And to tell the truth, it was very heart touching, you know, because Stephen was quite close to me and you. We started off doing football, ended up doing Formula One together with him, and hope he.
Well, you know what? That was look. I'll always remember those
Yeah.
memories, those fond memories of him. I mean, at some stage, I think there used to be like a podcast with him, and it used to be like two people viewing. That'd be you and me. But the thing was, there were plenty of other people that loved him dearly, and he was genuinely a very nice person, a very nice young lad. I miss him. So I'm going to hold on to those precious memories I've got of him.
Yeah.
You know,
So will I.
and to me, it didn't matter whether he supported this club or that club. He was genuinely a top bloke.
Yeah.
You know,
It doesn't
look
matter.
nice to see you, mate.
That's one thing about football is right. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter which club you support. In the end of the day, it's the football first, and the meeting the people that we make that connection, right? Whether it doesn't matter whether from Arsenal, West Ham, Chelsea, it's the people that we meet out there. And like you said, we have the compassion, we have the empathy, we have the the integrity and the credibility, right, to make friends, right, properly, right. And I have to say this, right. Big up to my brother.
Brian Daigle's in the house.
Yes, big up Brian. Big up Brian. Right. And of course, Brian.
How can you read this out? Brian Daigle saying Levy out, Inig out, Cullen out, Stellini out, players out, everyone out. That's the message. Nice one, Brian.
Yeah, Brian. And Brian was at the protest again this Saturday, right? In front of the shop, we call the sports shop, whatever it's that, right? And of course we got Rob Belcher. Rob Belcher is another big supporter.
Rob.
Yeah. Big up.
Good to see you too, Rob.
Yeah. And not to forget Swifty. Big up Swifty.
Swift.
Yeah. No, you can't.
Good to see you, Mark.
You can't block Brian Daigle Swifty.
Good to see.
Yeah. I know. I made Brian the mod. I made Swifty a mod long time ago. Right. Big up Swifty. Right. And then we've got who else we got here? We got Swarabot. Swaro BG. Big up the Swaro BG. Right. Who else do we have? Paul Brown. Yeah, big up to Paul Brown.
Oh, Paul Brown's in the evening. Good evening to you. Good happening.
Good happening. And Mr. Tamizi, big up Tamizi.
Tamizi.
Yes, I think if I'm not mistaken, you're a Liverpool fan, right? That's why. Big up.
Well, you know what, there is an important message in what he's written down though. He goes, smash a like.
Yeah, smash a like, Aaron, smash a like, right, smash a like. And of course, we've got Lisa. Big up Lisa, all the way from Mexico. Right, great to see you back.
Nice one, Lisa.
Yeah, nice. Right. And
pleasure, Lisa.
Yeah, I missed the show. Yeah, want to say, yeah, Lisa. Thank you. Right.
Thank you. Catch you later. It's not going to be a 3-hour marathon. It's just going to be like a nice 1-hour show, and you can watch it later on, Lisa.
Yeah.
Special mention out to you.
Yep. And at the moment now, Mr. K is back. I mean, he's not going to be back permanently, but he'll be back once in a while if I can drag him out from where he's hiding. Right.
I think we've got plenty of people that are in the podcasting community that are very exciting people, knowledgeable, exciting. So I think we're very fortunate. The community has grown,
Mhm.
and is things have changed. Of course, certain channels have gone, certain people have amalgamated together. But they've generally, the community itself is now established on YouTube. That's the most important thing. Please like and subscribe. Blue. Thank you, Guguma. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Uma.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you. Right. So,
right. So let's.
Mr. K, shall we just go to the next
Mm,
segment, right? It's very simple.
yeah.
Guys, in the chat, right? Put in a question, right? To me or to Mr. K, right? If you just type it up, if we have some time, we will answer questions that you put up, right? And not forget, right? Mr. Chris Agamba, the number one Agamba. Big up, Chris. Big up, Chris. Right.
Good on seeing you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Good
Yeah.
evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Right. Yeah. Good evening. Right. But as we go on, while we wait for some questions from the chats and Mr.
Yeah.
K,
I mean, go on.
it's Ramadan, right? And during
Oh yes.
Ramadan, we'll say, do we say Kareem Ramadan or Mubarak Ramadan or Ramadan Mubarak?
Ramadan Kareem. Ramadan
All right.
Kareem.
Yeah, Ramadan Kareem, right? Ramadan to Kareem to all you
Yeah.
guys who are Muslims and practicing Ramadan at the moment, right? And
Yeah.
how's your Ramadan going?
It's been look. Ramadan is one of those times when you have spent a lot more time with your family.
Mhm.
You spend a little bit more time devotion to your maker. Um,
Okay.
it's a holy month for us. We focus. We abstain from drinking. We abstain from eating. We abstain from bad language. We abstain from bad thoughts.
Mhm.
It kind of you need a little reset every now and again, and we have it once a year. And it's kind of important to use it as best as we can to make ourselves better human beings.
Mhm.
This is one of the reasons why I think, I said yes when you turned around to me and said, "Look, come on the show." I said, "Yeah, okay, fine, I will," because I think that we do need to spread this love between fellow human beings. And
That's
and I know how it feels to be ranting and raving. Trust me, I'm the original ranter. But it's
Oh, don't,
but it's
don't let
important.
Brian Daigle hear that. Don't let Brian Daigle hear that. Right? You're not the.
No, he's actually put me at the top. I think he's got like a 10-minute clip of me.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
10 minutes saying Levy out. Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
10 minutes.
But
Yes.
it's important. I think the most important thing I'd like to say today is like, um, as fans, you know, um, show a little bit of compassion to each other. Show a little bit of compassion to yourself. And there's nothing wrong with having an opinion, saying something, whether it's factual, not factual. Right or wrong is not important. Just get along. Just get along. That's more important. That's the message I'd like to give out to all the fans out there that are viewing. Just right or wrong doesn't matter. Just get along with each other. We have a commonality, which is we love the club. We want success, and it doesn't matter whether I think the club should do this or someone else thinks the club should do that. At the end of the day, we're not making decisions. Somebody
Mhm.
else is making the decisions, right? So we shouldn't torment ourselves, and we shouldn't torment each other. But that's human beings. What can we do? Um,
Yes.
we're gonna be prone to this, and if people are like that, step back and try not to think ill of each other. Okay, fair enough. There might be some few individuals out there that deserve to be thought of ill. I'm not calling anyone a prick, but when I see them in the face, I will call them a prick. But
Okay.
mention
I don't.
no name, Sean Butler. Um,
Yeah.
but uh, but yeah,
Oh,
it's the thing is, I think there's always an exception to that rule which I come out with. I'm a loving guy, but at the end of the day, there's a certain line that people should never cross. But yeah, like I said, respect one another. Try to forgive each other. I have for many years forgiven that bloke, but unfortunately, he's still a prick. Um, so it's and so see all of us. But I digress. I shouldn't be doing that. It's not good.
yeah.
And that's the
Just
thing. I say something wrong, but then I should catch myself. and then I should correct myself. There's nothing wrong with getting wrong. Human beings do wrong things all the time. We learn from being wrong, but we only learn if we can pull ourselves back from it and don't punish ourselves so much for being wrong. It's a human condition to be wrong. We don't know everything. Even the things we know for solid fact, they may not be solid. They may change. You know. So I think that's a lesson. I mean, I try to practice that within myself, and that's what I've been doing for 18 months. Is I've been trying to practice certain principles that I have in life. Integrity is so important. What is integrity? And I think to a certain degree, when you look at our club, it is a football club, which means it's a sports club. And when you think of the word sport, you think of the word integrity. It's like, for example, I think there's certain bad elements that have crept into the realm of sport, and they've been justifiably allowed. Like, for example, falling down and rolling around the floor as if you've been poleaxed. But then some people turn around and say, "Oh no, it's a clever thing to do."
Shithousery.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, the thing is, it's like we become so desperate for an outcome that you're willing to excuse bad things, even if it comes from people that you love and adore. You understand? Like our
Yes.
players. This extends further. Like, for example, people buying cinemas and instead of buying players.
Buildings in
We
the
tend to say it's
building.
clever. But yeah. So I think compassion, empathy. I like to. I'm still a human being. I'm still learning. I'm not saying I'm not preaching. I'm not preaching to you guys out there, all of you fans out there. I'm not preaching to you, but I will implore upon you to be nicer to yourself and be nicer to others if you possibly can, because everyone is hurting right now. Everyone in our fan base is hurting. I mean, I'm sure the players are hurting too. Obviously, they go home and cry into their pillow of millions, but still, they must be hurting to a certain degree. Obviously, they go home and they've got a new contract lying for them right on the table, but they must be hurting some other fashion. You know,
Okay.
Look, I think humor is important, and I think you must laugh and jest whenever you can, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you think about it, it's like when we talk to other fans, we have something called ribbing and banter, right? And that makes a jovial lightheartedness. Because if you went back into the 80s, those fans weren't joking and bantering with each other; they were trying to kill each other. You know, you know.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
true.
so fans
Yeah.
remember out there when they used to go down and go and watch Chelsea at the bridge, right? Yeah, they'd be scared, like they'd be saying, "Oh, watch your back" and everything. And that was actually true, back in those days. Certain parts of London were off limits to like Tottenham fans. So
Yeah.
but things have changed since then. Now I think bantering and humor should be used, and shouldn't be like taken in a bad way, right? I think we should do more of it rather than get so serious with one another. Unless your name's Sean Butler. It's
But you don't go there, right? Because someone is calling you out at the moment, right? Tottenham 1882, right? He's saying this, and then after that he says
yeah,
this, right? You say be kind and call someone out. Keep calling someone
yeah.
out.
Well, I'm a human being. I'm allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah, we all allowed to make mistakes, right? People can be nice, but better not say anything. But you're on a podcast, you have to say something, right? If not, you'd be just Mr. K and me sitting down here and not saying anything, then we won't be watching.
Well,
But
you know what? This is
but
I respect Tottenham. I respect Tottenham. Tottenham was it Tottenham?
18,
I respect your
1882.
view, and you're right to call me out on it. Thank you very
Yeah,
much for calling me out on it. I need reminding every now and again when I go a bit too far. So thank you.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, I should be. There is a nice bantering, and then there's a not so nice bantering, and I think you might have felt the not so nice bantering when it comes to a certain individual, but there's a history behind that, and I should try to rise above it. So thank you for reminding me that I should try to do better. I should try to employ upon the principles of integrity to raise myself a little bit higher above it, and I should be more forgiving towards other people and say that I don't know their full life story. I've not walked in their shoes. Okay, so yeah, but it's very difficult to always be turning the other cheek when the other person's constantly slapping you. Um, so that is, but it's not fair for me to be bringing that out and putting the dirty laundry out there. So thank you very much, Tottenham 1882. Good on you,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Right.
And of course, let me read this from Swaff Rock BG. Right, he says, "I'm worried. I'm worried, not because 4th, 6th, or 10th place, but because we can't make it 4-3. Okay, 4-3, whatever that means, right? What would Dyer say? Why didn't we make them more trouble? Make them more troubles forward. Perisic, Richie Kane missed big chances. Oh, you're talking about the Bournemouth game, so Sorrow. Yeah, I understand where you're going at, but
I mean, why couldn't we score 4 goals and like beaten them, but from the 3 that we scored? If
yeah,
our attacking forwards, right, had actually taken their chances, right?
yeah, most
I mean,
people would.
on my days, Richarlison missed an absolute sitter with his head.
Yeah,
I mean, that would have killed the game. Literally 30 seconds later, they went on the other side and scored a goal.
yeah, that's true.
We would have won that game. But
Yeah.
but that's the thing about football and sports, right? Yeah, is on a sixpence, the momentum can turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's
actually,
it.
well spotted.
Yeah, yeah. And what does okay? Hey, big up Ian. Big up Ian. Ian Math. Sometimes you use the Ian Math account, and sometimes
Yep.
you use the Shaggy 1217 account.
Shaggy was that Shaggy 1712. Crikey, he's
Yeah,
showing his age.
yeah. No, that's
Crikey.
Ian.
Did you know?
We already know
Did you
his
know
age.
Queen Victoria?
We already know his age, right? And of course, we got
I miss you, man.
Nick,
Love you,
Barry.
man.
Big up to Nick, Barry, Ranjit. What else? Maurice, and more. Whatever name is.
It's good to see
Right.
Barry. Good to see Barry.
Good to see.
I like Barry.
Yeah. And okay, this is the one, right? M. Tamizi is asking us, Eugene, Mr. K, how are you feeling? Both London teams shared a 2-2 draw today. The West Ham Arsenal game, right? And Arsenal was
I think West Ham did fantastic. I think
yeah,
West Ham did absolutely fantastic to score 2 goals against the team that's right at the top of the table right now. That's
yeah,
fantastic. 2 goals, man. Fantastic.
yeah,
Brilliant London derby there. Brilliant London derby.
yeah.
Both teams I absolutely hate and despise, but good on them.
Good on and the thing is that even Arsenal was leading 2-0. It was more or less the same thing again. What happened in Liverpool? So I mean, let's hope.
Yeah, Moyes is just making sure he doesn't get sacked in summer, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see how that goes, right? I'm sure Ken has been on show with me a lot, right? He's the West Ham fan that actually we all know now he's Moyes out. But let's see what happens, right? Maybe next week when I do my normal show, we'll get the rest of the gang on again, right? And let's analyze the 2-2 that the West Ham did to Arsenal, right? And what does Scott Mann has to say? Credit to Mr. K, much kinder than me. I agree that what you're saying in principle. Then I read some of our fans say. And then
Look, it's very difficult. Look, listen. I'm not telling other people to do something that I'm successful in. No, I'm struggling with these things. I'm struggling with these thoughts. I'm struggling with, anger, pain, frustration. I struggle with those same things. I'm just letting you know that this is how I feel, and by me talking to you guys about it and you ladies, it will help me. It will reinforce it in me that I need to try more. I need to try better. Because I know it's a human condition to be susceptible, to be, the fan base, to be with division with each other. I understand that. I feel it too. I'm not immune to it. I'm trying. And I think the 99% of the whole right, I tend to be trying quite well. I just seem to be failing on the 1%. But I'm human. I accept that, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. That's the one thing about me that I won't do.
That's true. That's true. And of course, I have to say, big up to Ryan, Huddersfield Town TV. Right, big up to you. Big up, Ryan. Who else is in the chats? And anybody else got any questions for us? Right. Okay. What is Scott M saying now to Mark Swift? Yeah, but I would watching the trouble. Like you already bring some band hammer. Bring the band.
Basically, I think Scott M's got the he's got the Spanish symbol next to him. He's one of the mods, isn't he? So I think he's threatening someone with the ban.
Okay. Oh, the ban hammer. Okay. Okay. That means Scott M. Yep. I forgot. Yeah, Scott M is a mod. The ban hammer. Now I get it. Yeah. So Swifty.
I think you should let me read some of them out.
Yeah. Okay. Now I understand. Right. Okay. What else do we have? Any more questions?
Shall we push on a little bit?
Yep. Go ahead.
Yep. Okay. So I mean, look, stand back a little bit and start to take a little bit of stock of what the situation is with the season so far. We're going to struggle very hard to get into that top 4 place. I mean, the teams above us, especially Newcastle, they seem to have tried to trip up. Unfortunately, we've tripped up at the same time. So it doesn't seem to me that I don't believe that we can make it into the top 4. But coming in 5th ain't gonna be the end of the season, is it? I mean, what do you think? Do you think 5th will be a failure of the season, or do you think it's actually okay? Because we could do much worse. We could have done much worse.
Mm-hmm. But before I answer you that, right, I need to give a big shout out to DV. Okay, DV, big up to DV. Most Spurs thing we could do is win at Newcastle. Yeah, we could be. And of course, the big Jacob, big up Jacob, big up.
United
Right.
States of America, yes, I love him.
Yeah, Spurs of America, Jacob. I love his voice, right? Whenever he says
No, they have this acronym for some sort of energy, something big sort of energy. I can't remember what it was.
BDE. Yeah.
Oh, BDE. Yes.
Yeah, BDE. Yeah, he's got the acronym for BDE. You know what BDE is, right? But we won't say it on stream, right?
No, we won't say it. No, it's family show. No, it's during the daytime in the UK right now. There might be little kids watching.
Yeah, we won't say.
Let's move on.
Let's move on from that, right? I mean, okay, one more before I have my opinion on this, right? Big up H. Big up H. H is a good supporter too, right? Big up, right? Oh,
right to the wire, yeah.
Don't tempt fate, right? It can go right down to the wire.
But he was talking about 6th, 10th, and 8th, and wherever.
H is talking, I think, about this. We already had Spursy moment flunking out against City. Yeah, fluking out win against City, laying down twice against Arsenal. Right, thankfully Arsenal choked away the league today. Arsenal, yeah, that's true.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. I think it's touch and go. I think the top 4 races is touch and go.
I keep saying it, right? If M City is going all the way into the Champions League final, right, Arteta might have to let one of the things go. You get what I'm saying? Yep. And he's won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League so many times, right? He might just say, okay, take it, Arsenal, right? But it's hard to say.
No.
It's hard to say.
Pep wants that title. Pep wants that title.
Pep wants the treble. Pep wants the treble.
He wants the title. He wants that title. Trust me, he wants it. There's no way he's letting that go. He's a very humble person in front of the camera, but he desperately wants it.
That's true. That's true. But that's the ambition of the manager that is there. That's the ambition of the club. That what's going to happen, right? So
yeah.
But for your question that you asked me just now, right? My thoughts on this season. To me, to tell the truth, like I said, I've been a Spurs fan for 40 over years. I've been zen about Spurs for quite some time now, ever since what happened to Poch, right? Because expectations and all that, putting it there, it gives you so much stress, right? Nowadays, I just watch matches, right? Just to watch matches, right? To see that whether Spurs can come up with some magical football that makes me happy, impress me, and all that. And as for this season, to tell the truth, it doesn't matter. We are 4th, 3rd, right? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th. Because in that day, we, like what you said, Mr. K, is very simple. Last season, Conte came in, brought us to 4th, right? And from there, we thought that our owners will give him what he want to push on, which we come back to square one again with what Poch had, right? We never push on, right? The only thing we push on is that we keep extending contracts to players who don't achieve. And like what you said earlier,
right? Those players have done their job. They got the manager sack, right?
Yeah,
so they can rewarded for that.
No. The players have done their job by deflecting the issues instead on someone else, but onto the manager, right? But what he says that we keep giving contract extensions to players that don't deserve it, right? And if we keep doing that, then to tell the truth, right, Spurs fans should just accept where we are, unless we all band together and say out loud what we want, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that we all have to be aggressive, violent, and all that, but we have to band together and say something to say that, okay, enough is enough, right? If you give us something like this, we ain't going to accept it no more. But like I said, the fan base has accepted it to a certain extent, then it is what it is, right? And it doesn't matter to me whether where we land this season, because after Conte has been sacked, right? You know, when Conte came in, in November last season, it was like, oh yeah, the excitement. Then when the football started to turn to crap, then the faction of the Conte out came in, then the faction of I can be Conte out and Levy out at the same time, and it became so confusing to a certain
It's more
extent that,
fragmented.
and it became
Yeah.
confusing, fragmented, right? And it diluted a lot of the Levy out meaning. So that's how I feel. That's my opinion, right? But in their day,
Uh,
to each his own. How you want to portray
yeah.
your feelings and how you want to see
So
what.
so basically, what you're basically saying is that you're already disappointed, right? Yeah, and you don't have the heart anymore. Whether we finish fourth, fifth, or sixth, or seventh, it doesn't make a difference to you
No,
because
mistake.
realistically, what you wanted was at the beginning of the season for Conte to have been backed and for him to kick on from fourth and try to aim for like third and second.
No, Mr. K. To tell the truth, right? I'm not even disappointed. You can
Hmm.
see, no, I don't have any more emotions to put into it anymore because, like I said, if we put too much emotions into this, right, you don't forgive yourself. You understand?
Yeah.
I've forgiven myself, right, for being a Spurs fan. Number one, right? Right. I've forgiven myself for being a Spurs fan, right? And
I
okay,
think there may be some people that
big
might
up,
view this
big up,
and not understand. Oh my days, Emzo's in the house.
yes, big up Amzo, big up Amzo. And
Nice
Amzo's one of
one.
the old
In a
school guys, that old school guys from 2 years ago. He's still here. Big up to him, Amzo.
It's,
Big up Amzo.
like I told you at the beginning, like it's amazing. Look, regardless of anything else, right? Yeah, the positives I take from viewing the fan bases, the wonderful community that we have online. Whether you agree with some of their opinions, you don't agree with some of their opinions, the consistency that they're constantly on. Without them, there wouldn't be this online community. It's not us; it's everyone all around us. People that coming in the room that are viewing, that are taking the time out to write comments. It's a consistent thing that's been happening for the last 2 years now, and now it's fully established. Before, I mean, before all these little groups came out and started making podcasting, what was around? Hardly anything. We had
Yeah,
Tweedledee and Tweedledum in Tottenham away doing their, not Tottenham away, we are Tottenham TV doing their thing, right? Yeah. We had Chris Callan trying to sell his t-shirts, right? Yeah. We had some uh, jokes from impressions, right? And we had Alistair, being the mouthpiece for the club. So it was refreshing to get all these opinions of fans for all these diverse podcasts which have come out. In fact, there's a lot more podcasts than I come across a lot more now.
yeah.
So I think that's one thing positive that's come out of this is that this community is now established. What I'd like to say is that we need to accept the fact that we are hurt, that we are disappointed in some fashion, that or maybe we're too numb with too much of the pain that we've gone through. But I think instead of us lashing out at this, that, or the other, one thing we shouldn't do is maybe lash out at the fans. Fans should not be lashing out. I mean, I'm guilty of this. Trust me, I'm very guilty of this.
Oh, we
Trust
all
me.
are. We all are guilty of this. But sometimes you can't control yourself, right? Sometimes you see
No,
the things
no,
in front of you, but you have to tell the
yeah.
truth. But when you tell the truth, right, it becomes
No, you
like,
don't have to tell the truth. No, 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 no. If
I
Conte
have to
didn't
tell.
tell the truth, he'd still be the manager.
Now, Mr. K, you know me. I hardly
If
ever.
Rose,
I
if Rose
hardly ever.
didn't tell the truth, right, he'd still have a contract extension, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's the
Uh,
same thing, right? But in their day, right, like what you're saying, our fan base is fragmented. Our fan base is divided. Our fan base, like what you say, there's really the divide between the in and the out, and on the fence, there's already three-way division there, and then in the out, there's like 15 divisions out there. So it's so confusing.
all regardless, all these fans are united in how they care about the club. They are
Mm.
united in that.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying let's look for commonality. What is the same with each other, rather than looking at what divides us. We
Mm.
can we can look at Levy and we can say definitely 100% he's not a fan. That's blatant. So I've got no connection with him. But with fans out there that will say that he's doing a decent job or whatever, right? Yeah, I've got a connection with them because I may differ from their opinion, right? I may look at the same facts but maybe come to a different conclusion. But one thing I do have a connection with them and a commonality is that their love for the club itself. So I'm saying let's look for commonality amongst fans, 100%. And the fact finding it, we can push that to one side. Who's right? Who's wrong? let's just get along.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
I mean,
You should.
I want to do this myself. You know, because obviously, you know, it's like I'm guilty of venting and ranting and, you know, name calling and all the rest of it. I'm just as guilty as everyone else. But I
Mhm.
like to do better. I like to do. I don't want to continue being hurt, and I don't want to continue watching other fans being hurt and bickering with them over what's making us hurt. Do you understand? But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm going to give up my opinions. No, you shouldn't be compromising your opinion. What I will do is I will respect the other people for having their opinion, and hopefully they'll respect me for having my opinion.
Hmm.
Right?
That's true. That's
On
true.
the whole, on the general whole. I mean, I know there's a few people out there, whichever side of the fence you might look at, which kind of like you can't play that with. So there's always a few bad seeds somewhere, right? So if we
Mm.
ignore them, the general population, 99% of the fans out there, we can all like come to we can like respect one another in that respect that we all love the club.
Mm.
Scott M is saying, I think that this is the first step. Many in our fan base don't want the same things. Too many are fine with us not achieving success or winning anything. Well, think about things like clubs like, for example, Nottingham Forest. Like, do they have any aspirations like what we have? Do they have any self entitlement views that we have? I think we don't have a track record of thinking that we're going to win the league. We don't have a track record over the last 20 years. They've been nowhere near close, right? So, if in that regard, this belief of being successful is not there's nothing in our history in our recent history that makes us feel this way. So, Scott M, I agree with you, but at the same time, I'm trying to let you know that you can't expect someone in a wheelchair to suddenly get up and start running. That's not a chair. That's a wheelchair. We have to be a little bit empathetic to them and also to ourselves for being frustrated. You know, so yes, it's good to have facts. It's good to have that winning mentality, right? But at the same time, we have to respect the fact that fans come in all shapes and sizes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shah is
80%.
saying, guys, the problem is that there's too much animosity with Spurs YouTubers, and each one of those have their own fans. This is what our ownership has done because it keeps them in control. Well, the thing is, it's a very English thing to have divide and conquer, and the
Mm.
fan base is divided amongst the social communities. It makes sense to keep them divided. You know, from a strategic and tactical point of view, that seems like a good policy for. I mean, has Levy done it deliberately? Has he put his feelers out there to make that happen? I don't think so. I think that happens organically.
True.
I don't wear the tinfoil hat anymore, so I'm not saying that there are any conspiracy theories. I think it's organic. I think it's organic. I think when you look at social media, people will have this type of ability to, especially when it comes to comments,
Mm-hmm.
writing things down. They will turn around and you will find difference of opinions and people very entrenched upon their viewpoints. And some of them, which are more braver, they'll come on to the panels and actually argue with each other with points and views. Um, some do it with wit, some do it with facts, some do it with stats. And you may notice there's a difference between stats and facts.
uh,
But
the,
personally, I think wit is great.
yeah, yeah. And what Amzo says here, right? Oh, it's going to bring good football
Because
over
our
winning
fans
trophies.
prefer playing good football over winning trophies in recent poll. Not really amongst our supporters. Um, I think reality is that if you ask the fan, if you ask any of our fans deep down inside, they'd be desperate for a bloody trophy. They'd be desperate for winning, no matter how the hell we do it. The problem is we run out of patience. If we are playing boring football, but we're not winning, then we're going to get onto the manager's back and say, "Hey, man, we want exciting football." But if we're playing boring football and we're actually winning, we'll hold our tongue until the end of the season, see where we end up, right? And then maybe if we win something, then maybe the next season we'll turn around and say, "Hey, we want a bit more excitement." But we're willing to shut up right here, so long as we're getting success on the pitch, right? I think if you look at Jose, for example, you know, we were willing to shut up if he was getting success. You know, he got us to a final. We were some of us were okay with that with the style of football that he's playing. If you look at Conte, for example, I mean, Conte's actually turned around and said, "Listen, I don't have the players right here to play this exciting football you're talking about. You know, I can't even get four in the back. I have to put three defenders in." I don't have the right. No, we don't have defenders with the right characteristics to play two defenders in the back. And two fullbacks or wing backs, whatever. But the point is, he said it straight, and obviously this guy's an expert. And
Mm,
I'm thinking it's fallen on deaf ears for us, and we went and rewarded those useless players with extra contracts.
mm. Again,
What can I
again,
say? What can I say?
again.
What can I say?
I know that seems to be part of our Spurs culture nowadays,
DNA.
right? Keeping DNA, keeping players that are not, you know, performing up to the expectations of the fans, and giving extensions to all of them, right? To tell the truth, right? I mean, I understand that too, but like yesterday when I mean, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday when we subbed on Sanchez for Langley and subbed him off for another player. And I mean, the reception for him wasn't very good, right? So, I mean, that would affect the player himself a lot as the fans did what they did. But do you blame the fans for feeling that way? That sometimes I feel like, you put yourself in a
Well,
position that you already know that's going to happen.
well, you know what it is. The defenders are the last line of defense, right? More or
Mm,
less, apart from the goalie. But they're more or less the last line of defense. I always turn around and say, well, there's a whole bunch of players in front of the defenders. What the hell are they doing? How's the ball getting past all of them, right? Yeah, to get past the defenders in the first place. And to me, right, yeah, it's like under Poch, right, yeah, the whole team was defending as a unit.
mm,
And I think when managers turn around and say that the players have to fight for one another, that's what they're talking about.
yeah.
So a midfield player saying, "But look, I'm doing my job. The ball is not in the midfield anymore. It's in my defense. Like I've done my job. It ain't my it's the defender's job now." And that's where Conte was saying that these players are playing as individuals rather than as a team. It's like you're not taking responsibility for the fact the ball's gone past you. You know, go put your foot in there. Get a yellow card, get a red card, get sent off. Show some passion. Romero does, but then if you look at Romero's pedigree, before he came over to the United Kingdom, he was the best defender in Italy at the time, and then he
Mm,
goes on to win a World Cup with
that's true.
Argentina. So it's like we can poo-poo him as much as he wants and say, "Oh no, why is he jumping into tackles and get those red cards? He doesn't need to do it." Well, the thing is, he does need to do it because none of the other players are bloody doing it. He's got no choice. He has to run forward and go like a nutter because he doesn't trust the players up in front of him or next to him. And I generally see players making mistakes like that when they don't trust their teammates to do what needs to be done. And that's when you see the character of the individual player coming forward, that ability to take ownership of what's going on the pitch. It's like, am I going to get the ball and do something with it? Am I going to move with the ball? Or am I going to get the ball and do a winks and pass the ball back somewhere, as quick as possible? I got my pass completion done for the week.
Mm,
Character is a big thing. Gaguma, Conte said many, many true things, I feel. In hindsight, we always, not even in hindsight, I think some of the fans have turned around and looked at Conte's good points. Um, it, I think we deflect the issue when we turn around and say, well, Conte made mistakes as well. Of course, everyone bloody makes mistakes.
we're
Right?
human. We make
Everyone,
mistakes.
but the thing is, you can't say managers make mistakes and then deflect from the good things that they've done. And Conte did try to instill a great character into the team because he knows what that is. He knows what that is. And I think it's childish to turn around and think that you know better than someone like Conte. And Gagum was absolutely spot on that we are going to look back to a certain degree and say, you know what, there's a lot of stuff that Conte said was absolutely spot on and true.
Hmm.
Shah saying that I'm spot on and true as well. Thank you. Right, because
That is,
and Sergey is saying and they are used to it here. They don't want to play under pressure, under stress. It's easy that way. And this is a direct quote from Conte.
yeah,
That's a
direct,
direct
direct.
quote. Yeah. So he actually what he said after that was even worse when he turned around and said, "You know what? It's the board. It's the club management." Right.
Uh,
United say so. Jacob saying, "Why when Danjuma is subbed, he seems like the only one who wanted to go for the win." You know what? That's what I saw when he scored that goal. He was going, "Come on, yeah!" And that passion. And what did we do? He got subbed off, almost like Mason Mates, right? And the other boys got contract extensions.
Oh dear.
That looks like he's on the pitch that wants to do something, right? Yeah, let's sub him off so the other useless ones can get on with it.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
I reckon Dan Druma would have run back, right? Yeah, to block that goal. But, you know, that's what I'm talking about.
Uh, yeah.
That passion
And
to put the foot in there and
yeah.
get the ball in the back of the net. You know, that's one thing. You know, one thing I will tell you. There's one thing I did enjoy about Conte's football, right? Yeah, was how many surprising times I saw the fullbacks or the defenders coming in to score a goal. You know,
Yeah.
the number of times that was pushed on, especially last season, right towards the
Mm,
end of last season, right? And this season, it was like I don't know what happened to Sonny. You know,
yeah. Sonny's dip of form is
it's all very well playing in the second half of the season if you're not playing in the first half of the season.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
But somehow or another he
you know,
scored. He seems to be coming back to form now. But let's see how that goes.
yeah.
And
Now that
don't
Conte's
forget,
not there.
yeah, and not to forget, right? We had that weird World Cup right in the center of the league, the season. So
That was the
that,
most weirdest.
yeah, weirdest scenario. I
That was
don't think that will happen again. Yeah,
your best
and I
players are going to go out there and get fatigued and wasted in the
and
middle
come
of the season. And the
come back.
second half of the season, we all know the second half of the season is where the real meat and bones of the league is,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true. Right. Mr. K, we have reached the 1 hour mark. Uh,
Yep.
it's up to you. Right. Shall we move on or shall we just call it a day?
I think we should call it a day because I think we've pretty much covered an awful lot of points, and we'll be
Yeah.
just repeating ourselves if we carried on. I think it's nice to be short, concise, keep it within about an hour. It's been an hour and 2 minutes already, and I
Mm,
think that if we were going to continue, we would have had a few more people brought them in, and
yeah.
maybe had one or two more people in our panel. But right now, today has been mainly just like it's great to be back. It's great to see everyone here. Um, Basically, I think the biggest message I wanted to say was like all you fans out there, listen, I'm trying not to be a nasty piece of work towards other fans. Can you guys also try that as well? Maybe if you try it, then it'll help me try more harder because I need you. I need the fans out there. I need you fans to help me to be a better person,
And
right?
I'll try.
To be a better
I'll
fan.
try. Yeah.
I can't do it alone. Honestly, I can't do it alone. I can't be. I know I can't do it alone. I need other fans to reach out and do this healing as well. Look, it's done. Conte's gone. Stellini's been found out. Mason is invisible. Our players have proven themselves to be utter rubbish, right? Yeah. I know there's a lot of fear factor and fear mongering, but let's just take stock of the situation. Considering what a pathetic season we've had, we're still in fifth. We've still got a chance of fourth. It's not too bad. You never know. Teams ahead of us like Newcastle might trip up. Man United doesn't seem like they're ever going to. But
Yeah.
you never know. We might sneak it.
Yeah.
And
We
good
never
luck
know.
to
We
today.
never
Thank
know.
you very much. And Jacob,
Yeah.
big up. Listen,
Yeah. Big up,
everyone
guys.
out there, thank you very much for turning up to the stream. Yeah, that's right. He felt for it. Um,
Yeah. Let me give a big
we
shout out to all the
blame
guys
the managers.
in the chat. Yeah. Right. Big up the H. Right. Jacob, Guguma, Mark Swift. Right. Who else do we have? Swarock, BG, Amzo. Big up Amzo. It's been such a long time.
I love
Z.
Enzo.
I love Amzo too. Right.
I'm
Yeah.
just missing Jamie. I'm just missing Jamie Git. Where is
Jamie,
he? Make my day.
yeah.
He probably
Scott
didn't
M.
know I was turning up today.
Yeah. Scott M. Yeah, there are a lot of old names. But I think Jamie Gitt's still around. Right. I still see
No,
him
he is.
sometimes.
He is. I've seen him.
Yeah.
I've seen him in the chats. I mean,
Yeah. But
sometimes I watch streams invisibly. I watch it. I'm there,
yeah.
so I don't
Same.
announce myself.
Yeah. And of course, big up to Nick Barry, big up to Divi,
Yeah.
right? And
Good to see
Shaggy
you, mate.
Ian, man. Yeah, big up to Ian, right? Who
Oh,
else
you
do
know
we
what? I'd
have?
love to get Barry on one day. Listen. I'd love to get Barry on. He's got he's understated, but
Yeah,
his opinions have great weight. I'd love to
yeah.
get him on one day.
That's it. We'll get him on. We'll get him on if you're coming back for another show one of these days, right?
You can take my place. You can take my place. I'll go in the chat.
Big up to Ryan from Huddersfield Town. Thanks for the support, and of course, not to forget Luca and Tamizi, right? Big up to you guys, and Tottenham 1882. Big up to you too.
Thank you,
Tottenham.
Tony. You brought me back to a level. Put me in
Yeah,
my place.
and of course,
Chris,
Chris
absolutely.
Agamba.
Chris, nice
Yeah,
to see you, mate.
yeah, and number one Agamba. He's the number one Agamba, right? And Lisa, big up to Lisa. Big up to
What
Lisa.
about 1772?
1772. Spurs haven't been even created yet, right? All right. And big up to Paul Brown,
Four,
right? Right.
four.
Rob Belcher, right? And not forget, right? My brother, Brian Daigle. Big up to Brian Daigle. I think he's working at the moment. He just hopped in just to put in a few comments.
Yeah,
And
I wish him the best.
yeah, wish him the best at his work, right? Brian Daigle's comment. We always love Luca, right? And Jamie Pretty, yeah, not to forget Jamie, my co-host, right?
I think he's on the bed, isn't he?
Yeah, right.
Tony,
Tony
good to see you, mate.
Yep. And Mark
Mark,
Cousin,
Mark.
Mark Scrumpty Cousins, right? And of course, right, Scott M. And of course, not to forget Scott Mann, our new CFO, right? He's got a new nickname, right? And there's a new guy, a new person. Yeah, big up to Ryan McF. Okay, all right. Big up, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Right, thank you for being in chats. Thanks, you guys. Right, good show, Mr. K. Right, even though it's short and sweet. Yep. It'll be good to have you back again one of these days, right? And maybe not too soon. Maybe in another couple of months' time or so, when things. Let's see. Maybe we'll do an off-season show and talk about other things.
Yeah, I think a little bit more razzmatazz and a bit of bells and whistles. A bit of graphic displays.
Maybe once you set up
stick someone in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, and then maybe you'll get some guests on, have a few laughs, have a few chats.
I don't know. I tell you the truth, it's like it was the main thrust for me was to come on because I could see how I could see the fan base turning on itself, and I was feeling it as well. I was feeling the same thing. I was feeling it as well, and I was being triggered as well. And I thought to myself, you know what? I need to step back. It's not good. It's Ramadan. I shouldn't be harboring those type of feelings. And I think if I can pass the message on to the viewers out there to not lose hope, not lose belief. We have a great club. You know, we really genuinely do have a great club. We genuinely have a very good fan base. Honest to God, I'm not joking. I think just because we don't agree with each other doesn't mean that we're not good. The fact that they love Spurs, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, good on you because you love Spurs. You know, I'm willing to give you respect for that.
Yeah,
you know, even if I differ with people's views, you know, I respect you and adore the fact that you support the same club that I support. So good on you, and please, you know, try to pass it on to others. Let's be a little bit more patient. Let's be a bit more empathetic with each other.
Show a bit more compassion.
Let people finish what they're saying. Don't jump in there. Let them get it out, even if they're wrong in your opinion. Let them get it out, and let them come to their own conclusion. That maybe give them time, give them a week, give them a few months, give them a year or so. Let them come to the conclusion of what you think is right. Give them time. You know, that's what I would say. You know, obviously, don't lose respect for yourself. Don't belittle your own feelings. You know, it's important to have them. And always, come on, you Spurs.
Yeah.
Hope we make it top 4, man.
Top 4, Mr. K. Let's hope we do that. But let's see how it goes. Right. Even if we don't make top 4, it doesn't matter too much to me anymore. Right. Just as long as we still can play football. Right. Just as long as we can still play football. Right. And guys, thanks for being on. Right. And this is the closing. Oh yeah. And as always, wait, hold on. And as always, Levy out. I forgot that.
Levy out.
Levy out.